Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Blaine King. Today on the Sideline, we will find out if the Steelers were able to bounce back after a disappointing loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, we will find out if the Pirates were able to make a late run at a playoff spot. And of course, we have your Pioneer Sports as River State Conference play is intensifying. And we will start with the men's soccer team. I'm going to kick it over to Megan Masiosi, who has the story if they were able to get back to their winning ways at home. Megan?
The men's soccer team took on Asbury University Thursday night, and it was another close game. These two teams have met 7 times, and this was the 6th game where the score was decided by a 1-goal margin. Point Park struck first, though, scoring 17 seconds into the game. The goal came from freshman midfielder Nathaniel Vanderwalt, and it was his first of the season. The next goal for the Pioneers came in the 26th minute from Alan Ramos, who has scored 7 goals in 8 games this season. However, Asbury came back in the 29th minute with a goal from Austin Baker to make the score 2-1. There were no more goals scored in the first half. In the second half, Asbury tied it up with a goal in the 62nd minute from Matt Young. The two teams battled it out in regulation, but this game headed into overtime. Asbury scored the game-winning goal 8 minutes into overtime to hand Point Park its first conference loss. On Saturday, the Pioneers took on Cincinnati Christian, where they ended up rallying back to win. The first half was a defensive battle, with neither team scoring to take the lead. This was a very vicious game with several fouls and 17 yellow cards handed out that led to a couple of players being ejected from the game. However, 1 minute into the second half, Cincinnati Christian took the lead after a costly mistake by the Pioneers. A Pioneer defender and the goalkeeper bumped into each other while going after the ball and ended up letting it roll into the net. Down 1-0, the Pioneers battled back to score a goal in the 73rd minute. Josh Williams was taking a free kick and sent it straight through the goalie's hands and onto Paul Carr's foot for the goal. 6 minutes later, Alan Ramos got the game-winning goal from teammate Trenton Fowler. That goal was Ramos' 8th goal of the season and his 3rd game-winning goal for the Pioneers already. The Pioneers are now 1-1 in the River State Conference and head to Kentucky Thursday, October 6th for a game against Midway.
Thanks, Megan. So the men, granted they lost in overtime at home, but how big is it for them to play at home, granted they're winning record at home?
I think it's pretty big for them. It definitely builds their confidence going into the games. They are actually on the road twice in Kentucky this week. So just building their confidence at home, I think, is really helping them out. And it's always great to win in front of your home team.
Do you think the men can get rid of their road demons with a win, and if they can win a game at least on the road this weekend?
Yeah, I think they can. They're playing Midway, who are kind of on par with them. So I think if they can beat them, it'll give them more confidence coming back home and throughout the rest of the season.
Cool. Thanks, Megan. Now, the women's soccer team looked to get back on a winning streak, after registering their first win. Rob Gomez has the story on what happened on the pitch. Rob?
Thanks, Blaine. After starting off the season 1-5-2, the Point Park women's soccer team squared off against Asbury Eagles over at Highmark Stadium last Thursday night. Both sides of the defense held strong until the 50th minute when Point Park senior Aaron Gilmartin drove past the Eagles defenders to shoot it past the Asbury goalkeeper. This single goal would be the only goal the Pioneers would need as they went on to shut down the Asbury Eagles for their first conference win. The women's did not have much time to celebrate as they had a quick turnaround for their second conference game on Saturday. Saturday, the team hosted Cincinnati Christian in another great defensive matchup. Point Park and Cincinnati Christian battled all the way through the first half without scoring a single goal. It wasn't until the 63rd minute when Cincinnati Christian broke the scoreless streak on a header that got past the Pioneers freshman goalie Alexa Dunn. Point Park continued to battle, keeping the score within 1 goal, but with time running down, the Cincinnati Christian were able to score one more insurance goal with only 1 second left on the game clock. This dropped the Pioneers to 2-6-2 overall with a 1-1 conference record. The women will have a road trip coming up towards the end of the week where they will travel to Kentucky to face a couple River State Conference rivals. The women will first travel to Midway University on Thursday, then head over to Brescia University on Saturday, where they hope to improve their conference record to 3-1.
So, Rob, how big is it that the defense for the women's soccer team is starting to step up?
I mean, it's defense wins championship, am I right? And especially with Aaron Gilmartin going down, they're really going to need to hold the fort down while the offense can try and figure out a way to score some goals.
Yeah, and Gilmartin going down is a big blow to the Pioneers. But do you think that the offense will come around even without her?
I think so. Well, hopefully. I mean, they need what they need to work on is getting past their defenders right now. Speed seems to be the big issue with them. If they can get past the defenders and start getting more into better shots, they might be able to get their offense started.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Rob. Coming up next, we will check in on the volleyball team as a certain person is making his return to the sideline. We also will look how the Pioneer Sideline Fantasy League is holding up after 4 weeks in.
Did you know that Point Park has a cheerleading squad?
Don't stop. Don't get it confused.
Not only do our cheerleaders represent Point Park at regional and national competitions, but they also promote spirit and awareness of every sports team on campus. Come to any men's or women's varsity basketball game at home to watch the cheerleaders perform at halftime and cheer from the sidelines from the first jump ball to the final buzzer. Sports not your thing? You can catch the cheer team lead the crowd at the fall and spring pep rallies as well, or at several competitions around Pittsburgh each year. So what are you waiting for? Show the Point Park cheerleaders the support they show you.
Every human being has a purpose, has a dream to have their voices heard, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go. As an American, it is their right to have freedom of speech. I have a dream that one day this message will speak louder than words, that even the quietest voice will not go unnoticed. That is my dream. What is yours? For more information, visit www.freedomofspeechpsa.org.
The volleyball team was on a 4-game winning streak heading into last week, and we're looking to extend that winning streak and their River State Conference record. Making his sideline season debut, here is Mike Turkle on what happened on the court.
The Point Park women's volleyball team has won 7 in a row and advanced their conference record to 6-0 last week. In a rematch from the Battle of the Boulevards, Rio Grande came back to Pittsburgh after beating the Pioneers 3-1 back on September 3rd. Rio and Point Park are both in the River States Conference, so each team has to play each other once at home and once on the road. So the first match between these two teams counted towards their overall record, but not their conference record. The second time around, it started the same way the previous match did, with Point Park dropping set number 1, 25-21. Point Park would then find their rhythm and win the next 3 sets by the scores of 25-21, 25-16, and 25-19. Without sophomore libero Morgan D'Angelo, the Pioneers had to look to freshman Julia Minoski to step up for the injured D'Angelo. Minoski's stats didn't really show it, but she would go on to play a key role in the Pioneers' victory, collecting 13 digs in the back row. Senior setter Emily Meng took control of the match, dishing out 26 assists. She had 7 kills and 16 digs. Outside hitter Shiloh Simonson recorded 9 digs, and Ashley Taylor and Madeline Poor had 7 each. Conference play didn't stop there as Point Park headed to Asbury, Kentucky to play in 2 matches against conference opponents. They first took on Asbury, where they would go on to hit .235 for the match and beat Asbury on their home court 3-1 by the scores of 25-16, 23-25, 25-22, and 25-17. Morgan D'Angelo returned to the court for Point Park and recorded a team-high 18 digs. Emily Meng fed her hitters all day, tallying 37 assists, and middle blocker Nikki Cortano had a team-high 11 kills. Their final match came against Midway, and it was hardly a match. The Pioneers took the first two sets 25-8 and 25-9, but Midway almost stole one away from Point Park in the third set, but fell short 25-22. Midway hit negative .014 for the match and had 17 hitting errors, 8 service errors, and 8 serve-receive errors. Point Park is now 6-0 in conference play and 10-12 overall. Conference play will continue this week at Ohio Christian and Rio Grande.
Thanks, Mike. So after a tough start to the season, how big is this winning streak for the volleyball team?
Well, Blaine, it is coming at the perfect time, right when conference play has been happening. They were playing at home for a while, too. That raised up their confidence. They're starting to find their chemistry as a team. They got a couple new freshmen there with Julia Minovsky and Madeline Porter on the outside. It's all coming against conference play. They are now 6-0. This is a team that went 17-24 overall last year, 9-3 in conference play. Right now they're sitting at 10-12 and 6-0 in conference. So conference record is one of the most important things about a team in the River States Conference.
All right, and Mike, whether it could be a player or a certain team, what could potentially cool this team off from their winning streak right now?
Well, when you say team, the one team that really comes to mind for me is IU Kokomo, always strong every year. They're the returning conference champions last year in the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, now the River States Conference. They came to Point Park, and Point Park beat them 3-1 on their home court. Not the best we've seen IU Kokomo play. As for players for Point Park, Emily Meng, that offense runs around her. She's a setter. The setter is the quarterback on the court for this volleyball team, and that is Emily Meng. She kills, she digs, and she dishes out assists. Most valuable player for this Pioneers team.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Now it's time to look into how the Pioneer Sideline Fantasy League is looking. And sitting at the top of both divisions is myself and Mike Turk, as we are both 4-0. Mike had a big week from Julio Jones, who registered over 50 points for him. I had a big week thanks to my co-producer, Paul Daniels, not sitting Justin Forsett as he was benched before the game. So big week for me. Rob Gomez got his first win of the season as well, thanks to his Raiders, Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree. He went up against Sarah Maculin. Also, Ashley, she had a big week from Big Ben and Ezekiel Elliott versus Tyler Cahill. And Phil, quietly sitting at 3-1, he got a big win against Josh Kruk this week as well. It's going to be interesting to see if Mike Turk and myself can actually continue that undefeated streak. We can go undefeated the rest of the season, and it's me and him playing against each other week 13. So if we are both 12-0, one of us has to lose. But when we return from break, we will look into how the Steelers fared in the rain at Heinz Field this weekend. And it's October. The MLB playoffs is set, and let's find out who's going to be in and who might make a deep playoff run.
Here on the Pioneer Sideline, we talk a lot about sports in the studio, but it's beforehand when the conversation is actually interesting.
I hope I have enough powder on. I don't want to be too shiny on camera.
No, Trevor, I think it looks good. Every week you pull it off.
Ah, thanks, Phil. Man, your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
You sure? Yeah, I mean, I got a new haircut, but it looks all right. Perfect.
Hey, guys. Does this make me look fat?
No, you look great. You look good. Yeah, Kyle.
Thanks. I was really...
Sports! Yeah!
Ever wanted to be behind the mic and have the world listening to your show on campus? Well, it's just as simple as joining WPPJ, Point Park's student-run radio station, located on the second floor of Lawrence Hall, right next to the dining services. Listeners can tune in using Point Park's website or through the TuneIn app by searching WPPJ. WPPJ welcomes any new DJs that want to get involved, so be heard. Do you have what it takes?
Well, no one showed up to the show tonight. Follow my lead.
In 3, 2, take 2 open mics cue talent. Good evening and welcome to UView News. I'm Josh Krupp. We begin with breaking news out of West Penn Hall. Ready 3, take lower third. Traffic is backed up in the West Penn elevator line after elevator 1 broke down on the 7th floor. Lose lower third. Maintenance advises students to take the stairs to avoid delays. Ready 2, take 2. In other news, no, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. We need crew. Join UView. Take alien hand transition.
The Steelers were looking for a bounce-back game after suffering their first loss of the season last week. Ashley Morris has the dirt on that and more in our regional report.
Thank you, Blaine. The Pittsburgh Steelers had a comeback game against the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night where they won 43-14. Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 touchdown passes. 2 of them went to wide receiver Antonio Brown in the first quarter. Darius Hayward-Bay, Marcus Wheaton, and Jesse James all caught a touchdown as well. The Chiefs struggled immensely and had no points until the last quarter, where they then registered 2 touchdowns. As for injuries, 5 names were added to the already lengthy list. Anthony Chickillo, Ryan Harris, Jarvis Jones, Marcus Gilbert, and Darius Hayward-Bay all left the game injured. Even with injuries, however, a vital player was seen on the field for the first time in 11 months. Le'Veon Bell, who missed the last half of the 2015 season with a torn MCL and missed the first 3 games of this season serving a suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy, came back with 178 yards of total offense in Sunday's game against the Chiefs. It was a disappointing game on Sunday when the Pirates lost 10-4 against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Pirates finished this season under 500 and had no chance of clinching a wild card spot. Things were looking up for the Pirates in the 5th inning when they led by 1. However, the Cardinals came back in the 6th to lead by 2. In the 7th inning, the Cardinals wasted no time and clinched the win with 6 runs. Talk of trades for the offseason have begun as Andrew McCutchen had his worst season yet. His 256 batting average marked a career low, and he struck out a career high 143 times this season. McCutchen has a guaranteed contract of $14 million through next season, and in the past there was talk of a contract extension. However, with his reversal performance this season for the Pirates All-Star, it may be complicated to reach an agreement. The Pittsburgh Penguins have started the 2016 preseason as if they never stopped for the offseason. The last 3 games have been shutouts, proving that the Penguins have some dominant prospects. In Sunday's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, goalie Tristan Jarry made 24 saves, while goals were scored by Carter Roney and Tom Kuhnackel. In preparation for the regular season, General Manager Jim Rutherford has assigned 17 players back to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. The camp roster is now down to 31 players.
Thanks, Ashley. Le'Veon Bell was a huge asset to the Steelers this weekend especially. What other players not named Le'Veon, Ben, or Antonio can step up and kind of also be a difference maker?
I think that there's 2 main players that could really step up. I think Marcus Wheaton, he was out for 3 weeks at the beginning of the season. However, I think that he has a lot to prove now with all these injuries. And Sammy Coates has been in the system for 2 years now, and he's caught a couple long passes from Ben, and I think that he also has to step up a little bit.
Should the Steelers worry about all the injuries that are happening to them right now?
I think since it's so close to the beginning of the season, I think that they still have a little time to get their recoveries back. I don't think that they need to worry about it right now. I know that there's plenty of injuries right now, but I think once people get healthy, towards the end of the season was where they would have to worry about it.
Thanks, Ashley. Sarah Macklin now will join me as she has the info on the MLB playoffs and what happened in the World Cup of Hockey.
Tonight marks the beginning of the MLB postseason. The American League wildcard game will take place tonight between the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays, with the first pitch at 8:05. The winner will travel to Texas to face the Rangers in the American League Division Series. The National League wildcard game will be held tomorrow night when the New York Mets take on the San Francisco Giants at 8:05. The winner will face the league's best Chicago Cubs in the National League Divisional Series. Now on to the results of the World Cup of Hockey. The final series began last week between Team Europe and Team Canada. Team Canada took Game 1 by a score of 3-1. In Game 2, Team Europe got off to a strong start with a goal by Zdeno Chara 6 minutes and 26 seconds into the game. Neither team would score again until Team Canada's Patrice Bergeron found the net with 2 minutes and 53 seconds left to go in the third period to tie the game. It appeared the game would be going into overtime. However, with 44 seconds left on the clock, Team Canada's Brad Marchand scored on the shorthanded goal, sealing a World Cup victory for Team Canada. Team Canada's Sidney Crosby received the MVP award after leading the tournament with 10 points in 6 games.
Thanks, Sarah. I don't want you to go too far into this, but what is a surprise team that can make a deep run in the playoffs this year?
I think you have to look at the American League on this one. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays just because they have good pitching staff and a good offense. So I think they could surprise some people possibly.
Cool. And the World Cup of Hockey made its return after 12 years. How big was it and entertaining was it for hockey fans and just sports fans in general?
I think it was a great thing because everyone likes to see players come together from different countries, and just in the players in the NHL face each other, teammates that normally would never face each other. You had Malkin and Crosby going against each other. So I think it was just a great thing, and I hope it'll continue.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Don't go too far because it is October, and a new World Series champion will be named. We will give our predictions when we return.
Did you know that Point Park has a cheerleading squad?
Don't stop. Don't get it confused.
Not only do our cheerleaders represent Point Park at regional and national competitions, but they also promote spirit and awareness of every sports team on campus. Come to any men's or women's varsity basketball game at home to watch the cheerleaders perform at halftime and cheer from the sidelines from the first jump ball to the final buzzer. Sports not your thing? You can catch the cheer team lead the crowd at the fall and spring pep rallies as well, or at several competitions around Pittsburgh each year. So what are you waiting for? Show the Point Park cheerleaders the support they show you.
Every human being has a purpose, has a dream to have their voices heard, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go. As an American, it is their right to have freedom of speech. I have a dream that one day this message will speak louder than words, that even the quietest voice will not go unnoticed. That is my dream. What is yours? For more information, visit www.freedomofspeechpsa.org.
It is that time of the show for our Cases of the Week. Joining me today will be Sarah Maculin, Rob Gomez, and making his sideline debut, season debut at that, Josh Krupp. Gang, let's talk some baseball. Wild card predictions. We have Baltimore and Toronto going up against each other tonight. Rivals in the AL East. Who wins? Who wants to start? Anyone?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm going to go, I have the Blue Jays in this one. Just for the fact of, it's both, you have two high-powered offenses here, without a doubt. But I think the pitching staff of the Blue Jays is going to pull them through on this one.
Stop. Marcus Stroman?
Yes.
He's 1-2 with the 704.
I know, but I just don't think the Orioles...
I'm sorry, Aaron Sanchez isn't pitching tonight. Yeah. Aaron Sanchez.
No,
it's Chris Tillman. Baltimore's winning tonight.
Marcus Stroman's going to come up clutch. Watch. He's got that blood in his
think?
veins. He got ice in
So
his veins.
you got Toronto.
He's got ice. I do
got
got.
Listen,
He's got
I love
ice in his
Canada
veins.
as much as the next
ice
guy.
in his veins.
Chris Tillman this year, 16-6. Chris Tillman against the Cubs, or against this Toronto team that you think is going to be such this great pitchers. Baltimore, how many home runs did they hit this year? How many home runs did Baltimore? 253 home runs
Edwin
this year.
Encarnacion.
Most in the league.
Batista.
Against Marcus Stroman?
Tulo.
Against Marcus Chris
Dude,
Davis. Mark Trump.
That curveball, you know that curveball? You know what that hanging curveball is going to do? It's going to go up to the left field bleachers. It's going to go to left field bleachers right there.
Here is a stat for you. The 2 and 6, I believe, wild card teams at home. The home team seem to always lose. So
that home field atmosphere though is going to be intense at the Rogers Center.
The Orioles are below 500 on the road this year.
I don't know. The Orioles, this Orioles team, I mean, Orioles, they got to push through at one point. I think this is kind of the year. All right, NL. Rob, I probably already know where you're going for the NL, so we're just going to skip you right now. Josh, Sarah.
So Cali Boy goes with San Francisco. I'm also going with San Francisco. Mad Bum against Syndergaard. It's going to be a good matchup. Thor, though, I don't think it's a done. I think that San Francisco can outlast New York in New York.
Yeah, I agree with him on this one, just in the fact because of Madison Bumgarner. He's 7-3 in the playoffs with a 2.14 ERA.
And
you can't get much better
than that. It's an even year, October, Bumgarner.
I mean, I don't really got to say nothing. We're just going to move on. Let's just move on to the next one.
We're all for San Francisco. Great. All right, NLDS, we're going to start with that. So we have the Giants moving on to play the Cubs. Big series. Cubs, best team in the league all year.
Can we hear this guy first?
Yes, Rob.
All right, so this game's going to go, this series is going to go 7 right here, okay? 7, it's going to go 7. Giants over 7 right now. Bumgarner's going to pitch in 2 of those games and shut them down right now. Hey, the defense, I can tell you the offense right now, Giants offense is going to put pressure on this starting staff. This is what they're known to do, is putting pressure on the starting staff, getting to the bullpen, and then just wearing these guys down. That's what they're going to do.
You burn Bumgarner in the wild card game. You got to go with Cueto in Game 2 against Leicester. Then Samardzija, Hendricks, and then Arrieta for Game 4. Game 3. Game 4. It would be Game 3 in San Francisco. If they go down 2-0, Mad Bum can't come and save the day. You're going to have Cueto versus Leicester, Samardzija versus Hendricks, and then you got Arrieta and Lackey on the back end. Hendricks, they're saving Arrieta for the third man in the rotation. He hasn't been too strong as of late.
Rookie, let's just wait for this rookie, Ty Black.
All right, Sarah.
For goodness sake.
I have the Cubs in this one just because of the fact Josh brought up. I think they're deeper in their pitching staff.
I agree. I don't think, in my opinion, the Giants are good, but this is not their year.
Just watch the pressure. Watch the pressure they put. Watch the pressure they put on this pitching staff. The whole pitching staff and the bullpen.
He also said he wants the series to go 7. We only play. It's a best of 5 in the NLDS.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So they don't get 7 games.
All right.
Cubs in 3.
All right. Washington Dodgers. 2 teams that kind of choke always in the playoffs. Yeah. Who advances to play the Cubs in the NLCS?
Josh, you want to start on this one?
I'm taking the Dodgers in this one. I struggled with this, and I waited until the last second to pick the Dodgers. Why? Kershaw, Hill, Maeda. There. 3. 1, 2, 3. Bang, bang, bang. Scherzer, okay, I'll take Scherzer. Bryce Harper hasn't been good this year. Cool. Who else? Daniel Murphy. He had a strained buttocks. Yeah. He's just coming back from that. Hopefully he gets back, and I hope for the best for him. He's had a fantastic season, but it's not going to be enough to carry the Nationals past the Dodgers. I got Dodgers in 5.
That's why I had the Dodgers too. At first I didn't want to go off them because they kind of ended the season on a not so great note. But like you said, the pitching staff, and they lost Strasburg and Ramos, Washington did, and I just don't think, once again, they're going to disappoint people.
Cool.
As much as I want to go with the Nats, as much as I want, I just don't have faith in really just their pitching staff. I think the Dodgers got a lot of big bats with Seager, Peterson, even. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say him, but you know, I think they're going to put some pressure, and it's going to be Giants, Dodgers in the NLCS.
All right, very quickly for the ALDS, we will have. It seems like we're all split. So the wild card team, Baltimore or Toronto versus Texas. Who gets that?
Texas. Texas takes that.
I agree with Texas. I think they're super underrated.
Texas. Wrong.
Even though they're the 1 seed, they're still kind of underrated.
They're not talked about as much as Boston and Cleveland.
You know, I kind of agree. They got a really good offense right there with Odor, you know, Andrews, Beltre is just the leader of that team, and he's going to carry them, I feel like.
All right. Cleveland, Boston. Cleveland's very high, especially after their Cavaliers. Big Poppy. Is he going to go off with the high one here?
Tell J.R. Smith to keep his shirt on this year. Cleveland's losing in 4. Boston's taking this one.
Gotcha.
I have Boston in this one, too.
I got Boston, too. They're, you know, just too deep. They're really deep, just as deep as any team in this league right now in postseason.
All right, so NLCS, ALCS. We have the Dodgers and the Cubs, and the Red Sox and the Rangers. Who advances to the World Series?
I have the Cubs and the Red Sox.
I have Cubs, Red Sox.
I have Red Sox. Giants.
Jeez,
Giants.
oh,
I'm
man.
sticking with my
Didn't
Giants.
we just
Sticking with them.
Okay,
Sticking
got
with
a
them.
homer here.
Giants coming up clutch. Giants
All right.
coming up. 2016 even year. Let's
Okay,
go.
so we all have the Red Sox. Who, Red Sox, Cubs, Giants, Cubs. Who wins the World Series?
I have Boston. As much as everyone thinks this is the Cubs' year, it's Poppy's year. The Boston has scored 83 more runs than, even though we're getting into the championship, than Cleveland. They're scoring, their offense, as much as they do have some young names there, they have Pedroia and Ortiz and Ramirez that they're going to handle them through, and I think they're going to beat the Cubs. I don't think.
Do you have Cubs or Red Sox?
I don't have the Cubs in there. I'm not going to pick the
It's
Cubs.
Cubs, Red Sox.
All
Say
right.
it's Cubs, Red Sox.
All right, we'll say. All right, it's Cubs. I'm thinking the Cubs are going to take it. You know, it's their year. I feel
gonna go
like.
7.
But I don't have them even getting to the
Well, you
World
do now.
Series, so
Last 25 years, there have been 2 teams that are the #1 seed in the National League to win the World Series, the '09 Yankees and the '98 Yankees. Before that, to find a National League team that won it as the #1 seed, you got to go back to the '86 Mets. Destiny is not on the Cubs' side. It never is. 1908. The Cubs aren't winning the World Series. Boston is good 1 through 9. They got 3 guys that have hit 30 homers, 100 RBIs this year. Poppy, the storyline's writing itself. Game 7, walk-off.
Yes.
Ooh, we got
Sorry,
a big
Chicago.
prediction there.
that's a crazy.
I honestly have to agree.
cry.
I think it is the Red Sox year. I think that Big Poppy is going to go out on top with the World Series MVP at that as well. It's going to be a great series, but I honestly think no matter who the Red Sox go up against, I think Boston gets another World Series title. Chicago suffers for another year.
That warms my heart. Both of those things.
Guys, I want to thank you for joining me today, and then I also want to thank all of you for joining me for tuning in for another episode of the Pioneer Sideline. Join us again next week as we will look into how the MLB postseason is shaping up. Also, we will see if all the Pioneer teams continue to push the River State Conference record. And, of course, we will see how the Steelers played against the New York Jets. So join me again next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer place, and, of course, same Pioneer Sideline.